Playing on a Budget is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best Magic the Gathering singles and sealed retailer on the internet, GatheringMagic.com, your #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and content, and RogueDeckBuilder.com, my personal channel filled with innovative and entertaining Magic the Gathering rogue brews. Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here, another episode of Playing on a Budget. This episode, I'm going to go back to the Mono Blue Devotion from last season with the Theros and Return to Ravnica. That was a pretty consistent deck up until the release of Theros all the way into Journey to Nyx, and even a little bit into M15. This is quite a dominant deck. So we did lose most of the enablers for the blue devotion, like the early drops being the Cloudfin Raptor and the Judge's Familiar are going to have to be replaced with things that are not quite as good but still relevant. We have unblockable things and flying things that are going to help the Bident of Thassa draws cards, but it's really our 2-drop and our 3-drop slot, losing Night Veil Spectre and Frostburn Weird and then Tidebinder Mage that makes this deck a lot weaker. But I'm thinking in the format, when the format is pretty much dominated by Abzan midrange right now, that if we can go through being unblockable or overtop being flying and drawing a bunch of cards and then just getting there with the Master of Waves like the old Mono Blue Devotion deck used to do, then we might have a shot against it. So anyway, before we get into the complete deck tech, we'll go over the prices. The prices are brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the official sponsor of the Playing on a Budget episodes. So this one's going to cost us around $67, give or take, with adding the uncommons and commons. You're just use all islands. I think the deck will be a little bit better if you do use the fetch lands just to thin out the deck, but they're definitely not a necessity. We have a bunch of bulk rares in the form of Bident of Thassas and Hypnotic Sirens, and like Scuttling Doom Engine is at $3. Master Waves is at an all-time historic low at $4. So that's why I thought I'd try this for a budget brew, as you can play with those Master Waves now, as they're only $4. And then Thassa's the expensive card at $7. I'm only use 2 of them, one in the sideboard, one in the main board. Then Hall of Triumphs, a 3 of, and our little enabler here with Chief Engineer, we're going to use 4 of these, and Chief Engineer is going to try to cheat out an early Scuttling Doom Engine, an early Hall of Triumph, or an early Bident of Thassa. So if you get a Hall of Triumph out with Chief Engineer and then proceed to cast a Master Waves, if they do kill your Master Waves, your tokens will stick around. Now Master in this deck is hopefully going to generate between 3 and 4 tokens. You're not going to see some crazy amount of tokens that it used to generate. But I'm thinking that in this format, we won't need to do like a 1-turn swarm. Hopefully we'll be able to get in there for some early damage and then have some late game pressure with the Master Waves to come out. So I don't know how well Thassa is going to work in this deck. Cards like Utter End and Banishing Light seem to be all over the place, and it does a good job of taking care of Thassa. The indestructibility isn't relevant when the thing is getting exiled. A lot of exiles right now. There's Silence of Believers, there's Devouring Light, there is Suppression Field, or Suspension Field, and again, Banishing Light and Utter End being the 2 problematic cards for Thassa. But I thought I'd give this a go. Again, it's quite a budget. I'm hoping that we see a lot of Abzan midrange, and if it can survive against Admin midrange, then maybe this deck needs to be relooked at and redefined in this format. So let's go over the actual deck tech here. So at the 1-drop slot, we are using Triton Shorestalker, which is a 1/1 unblockable, which is very, very good with the Bident of Thassa, as it's going to draw us cards, as well as the Military Intelligence. Then we have Hypnotic Sirens, which are just 1/1 flyers for 1. It's probably the best other 1-drop that we can think of. I was thinking about maybe the 1/2 Merfolk for 1 mana, and then kind of going a Merfolk theme as the Master of Waves is a Merfolk, and then also go Merfolk / Elementals, because you do have some decent little elemental cards in the format right now. There is like the Void or Vortex Elemental, which is 0/1, which is a little bit relevant. I don't know. I wish it was a 1/1, because you can put a blocking or if it's blocked or blocking, it blocks a creature, you can put it back on top of the owner's library. Then there at the 2-drop slot, of course, is Vaporkin. At the 3-drop slot, you have the Frost. There's a Frost Cat at the 3-drop, which isn't too bad. I believe it's called Frost Lynx, which taps down a creature for a turn, and then it doesn't untap the next untap step, I think is what it does. See if we can find it here. There it is. Frostlink, so enters the battlefield, tap target creature, and opponent controls that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So not the greatest in standard, but if you did go like an elemental route, and then you could go the herb or the Obelisk of Erd, which gives all of the chosen type +2/+2, which can then be, you wouldn't even have to go Chief Engineer because it's got a built-in Convoke. So you could go, again, kind of the Merfolk and the Elemental strategy here, naming either Merfolk, depending if you want to keep your Master Waves alive, or Elemental if you have plenty of Elemental tokens. So anyway, I didn't decide to go that route. It's just going to be Hall of Triumph and Bident of Thassa are going to try to be cheated out with Chief Engineer. So ideally, it's going to be a 1-drop into a 2-drop Chief Engineer on turn 2. And then turn 3, you can convoke out some possible, well, not quite possible Scuttling Doom Engine. But yeah, turn 3... Yeah, I don't think it is quite possible Scuttling Doom Engine on turn 3. But on turn 4, Scuttling Doom Engine can come out, or you can convoke in on turn number 2 you can convoke in a Hall of Triumph, and then turn number 3 you can cast Master Waves, and then you would only be able to cast Master for two additional, or so it'd be 3 tokens, but they would survive if Master dies, plus they'd be 3 2s, which wouldn't be too shabby whatsoever. So as they would be, yeah, you'd have a bunch of 3/2 elemental tokens. You have 4 of them, and that's not bad for a 4-drop in this format. Anyway, we'll get some games going on here. Oh, we'll go over the sideboard here as well. Sideboard, I have just got some counter magic here in the form of Nullify and Negate and Dissolve. And I thought against heavy creature-based decks, Encrust works very well with Master Waves. You 3rd turn Encrust something, and then 4th turn Master Waves, and then you get 4 tokens. It also works pretty decent with Thassa. We have another Thassa in the sideboard, only utilizing 1. And some more Scuttling Doom Engines against decks that are weak against Scuttling Doom Engine. I'm trying out 2 Staff of Mind Magus against it's our only way to really gain life and hopefully stabilize against another aggressive deck like the Jeskai aggro. I don't know if it's going to actually keep its slot here. I think I might want more Thassas in the sideboard and then just go an all-out Thassa strategy against decks that are weak against Thassa. I'm thinking UB Control might be a little bit weak against Thassa as you can continue to fill up your hand. And then if you get a Bident of Thassa out, all you have to do is continue to top deck into creatures, and Thassa can swing each one of those turns. But we'll get some games underway here. This has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Playing on a Budget. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Gathering Magic and check out our Playing on a Budget playlist, which contains every episode. Thanks again, and hope to see you soon.